Oh, you like the coffee mug? Well, you can find them on our store on Etsy. Links in the description. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. Up here at the garage, decided to, I'm kind of in limbo right now with everything going on with the electrical so that I can get my electrical inspection. And I realized I still need to make that door for the crawl space storage area. Fun fact about me though is that I've never built a door before. So I have an idea. I drew out a couple little sketches to kind of help me think through this process, what I need, how I need to do it, and how I want to do it. Because remember, we're insulating that whole area. It's going to be climate controlled, so I don't want to lose. I just don't want to throw up a piece of, 1/2-inch plywood or 3/4-inch plywood, throw a hook on it and say it's good. I wanted to build something that was going to have a little bit of R value to it. So I got my materials. Most importantly, I got my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, not being paid to say that. And we're gonna head into the garage and I'll show you guys my plans here. Okay, so here's the opening that I'm building a door for. It is 32 7/8 inches wide, and it's 23 1/4 inch tall. Now I do have to wrap the inside of this door jamb area. Just to kind of help make my hinges nice, make a nice little spot for my latch for my doorknob. So I'm going to be using 1/4-inch plywood for that. I'm just going to rip some sheets. It's also going to help dress it up a little bit, and it's going to give me a nice place to kind of put my little stopper wood. So I need to subtract a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit on the heavier side, off that overall door size. But here is the material that I'm going to be using. I have 2 sheets. 1/2-inch plywood. I have my sheet of 1/4-inch plywood, and then I have these pieces of 1x2 just common pine. Now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to cut our opening size, our door size here on this. We're going to take our common pine, outline it, and then do a center almost like a stud. That way it's going to create 2 hollow cavities here. We're going to use this other sheet, make the same size, and sandwich that right on top. But before we do that, we're going to take some of this spray foam, window and door foam, and fill these cavities. We'll let it dry for a day or two. It'll expand a little bit, and then we'll saw it off, glue and nail this top piece on, and then we can jump down and get it mounted. Now, the thing that I like about that is that while that spray foam is kind of drying, expanding, whatever it's going to do, that's going to give me time to go down and get that opening all squared away with the woodwork that I need to do for that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, get set up, and get making a door that I don't know, I never made a door. I'm not saying it's easy. I hope nobody ever thinks that's what I'm saying, because I'm choosing to do most of this stuff myself. Not a single thing about this is easy. It's just something that if I sit down and I think about it and I draw it out, I know the materials that are out there. If I don't know, but I have an idea of how I want to do something, I'm in a spot where I can call somebody who does it for a living. I can ask them, I can pick their brain, and they can help guide me in the best possible direction. So that's where we're at. Gonna get this done. Okay, so sorry about the noise. I have the air purifier going to help with the sawdust that's in the air. We have our 2 interior and exterior panels cut. I cut 4 out of the 5 little framing boards that I need. These are the 2 for the top. I have the 2 for the sides over there. We're going to go ahead and get these glued and clamped. Okay, so we got the framing all clamped on, and after kind of seeing, you know, the way this was shaping up, I don't think I need a support here. I mean, it's 30 inches long or something. You know, I think I'd rather have that extra little bit of insulation. So that's what we're gonna do for that. We're gonna go ahead, jump over here, take our piece of 1/4 inch plywood, set the guard up on the table saw for 5.5 inches and cut some strips so that we can take that stuff down to the house and nail it onto the opening for our door framing, I guess. Not really sure what that's called, but let's get that done. Another thing checked off the list. All right, so went ahead and jumped down to the house here. I got those pieces, that piece of 1/4 inch plywood ripped down to my 5.5 inch that I need. Now this is going to outline this door just like any door casing would. However, whenever I do put this in, I need to make sure I hold it out 5/8 for that drywall. You want that drywall to be nice and flush with the outside of that casing, because I am going to wrap this with trim, because I mean, after all the time and work and money I'm putting into this, I don't really want to cut a corner with this door and then have a little bit of an eyesore. Not that anybody's really going to be staring at it, but resale purposes, and then just kind of pride, maybe, I don't know. Just want it to look as nice as it can. So we need to do that, and then I need to find a scrap piece of 1/2 inch plywood and patch this in. I had to cut that out for whenever that center beam was there. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, get these sides on, get the top on, get those set for the drywall, and then I'll find something to patch this in. If not, I'll just layer some of my cutoff. So that's that. Okay, so obviously we're, 11 feet up, 10 feet up, something like that. So the view is a little bit difficult to try to get with the camera, but there it is. The framing's all in. You just used 2 scrap pieces of cut off there. Make sure that was nice and solid. That way, as I'm crawling in and out, that won't be flexing and cracking, throwing off my little door stopper there. As you can see, we held it out for our drywall. I did have a little piece of scratch drywall, if you guys caught that, that I was making sure we were nice and flush with. That's held out the whole way around. So the next step is to get the door finished, get it down here, get my hinges routed in, get my hole cut in for the door latch, for the doorknob. And then once the door is in and like set where I want it, then I can go ahead, cut my door stopper for the inside, put a little piece of that foam weather stripping, so whenever that shuts, it's nice and sealed. We won't have like a cross breeze or anything. But we need to wait for that glue to dry on the door so that we can get it, get that insulation on, give that some time to expand and dry, cut it down, and then glue and nail the back piece on. So got a little bit of time wrapped up in this little door project. Just trying to not necessarily save money, but just kind of teach myself how to do things that I don't know how to do. I did price out a small door like that, and because it is a custom little door and I do want it insulated, it was gonna be like $350. So including the little thing that I bought to drill the hole for the doorknob, I think I have total wrapped up maybe like 80 bucks or something in material. So 80 bucks, and I'm learning how to do something, and then I'm sure you guys will comment on what I did wrong, what I did right, what I should change next time. You know, I do get to learn something, so that's always nice. In my mind, it definitely outweighs just going and buying a door real quick, throwing it up there, and being done. So yeah, I'll see you guys up in the garage here in a little bit. We can get this door going. Okay, so here we are the next day. I can take these clamps off. The foam feels real nice and dense. So once I get these off, I'll show you what we're going to be doing. Okay, so there it is. My top panel's glued on. Noticed a little bit of gaps, so I added some more clamps to it, and I went around and wiped off all the excess glue. Now I will trim this down a little bit after it's cured, so we'll head back down to the house and keep pushing forward. Okay, so now that we are waiting for the other side of the door to dry, I figured I would jump on these baffles. Now, since this is getting insulated in the ceiling here and this section here, these are pretty important for this next step to help prolong the life of the roof. These are basically just styrofoam baffles that have these little channels in to allow air to flow up through there. You want to keep the air circulating through here, that way it doesn't build up an excess amount of heat during the summer and warp the shingles, you know, weather the roof a lot further. All right, so we got all these baffles stapled up, and one thing I forgot to mention is you want to make sure you're using like a smaller staple. You're gonna have that insulation pushing up against it, helping to hold it, but you want to use maybe like a 1/2 inch staple. That way it goes through the styrofoam, but doesn't go through your plywood sheathing and potentially damage any sort of ice and water shield or your shingles. So I forgot to mention that earlier. But another thing, while you're stapling these up, you know, everything was going good and I was kind of paying attention to it. Everything was going good right about here. I think it was this one or this one. The nails that are poking through from the shingles, just keep an eye, because if you don't, you smack your finger straight into one and that sucker's deep. That one's hurting. But yeah, like I said, we got all these nailed up. Now I will have to get more for this wall. I need to cut probably 2-foot pieces to put in to here, because we'll have insulation coming over as well as up. So we want to make sure that has a nice little room, you know, little baffle area to breathe in. So yeah. I think the last thing for this video is going to be the door, and we're obviously waiting on the glue to dry. So we'll see you guys up at the garage here hopefully soon.